Hey guys, Dustin Berthold here. Odds are if you're watching this video, you are at least expressing some interest in maybe doing the flipped classroom. And I noticed that last year when I had done recordings and videos, at the very beginning it was incredibly overwhelming just because there were so many different pieces of technology out there and there wasn't really enough information on like necessarily how to do it, you know, from start to you're good to go. And that's really what the purpose of this video is just to kind of give teachers out there an opportunity to explore the technology that they might feel the most comfortable with. So in order to actually start out, if you don't already have so, we're going to start from the very, very bottom basics and finally get to what we're hoping for. But in order to do that, you actually have to start out by creating a Google account. Now, a lot of apps, even things like things like Apple uses, they work in tandem kind of with Google. So the best thing that I can say to start out with is kind of creating a Google account. And as you can see, I've gone to Google and I already have two accounts. This is actually my work one. This one's my main one for recording. But again, since we're starting from scratch, I'm going to go ahead and create a new account so you guys can kind of see it from the ground up. And then we're going to go down here to create account. And then we have the information that you would just type in. So for example, I'm just going to make a fake one. And we'll just make it Rudy Berthold. And we'll just make up some name, Rudy Berthold at Gmail. Ah, someone already has that. Okay. We'll just say Rudy Berthold 2. Maybe that'll work. Alright, so Rudy Berthold 2. Password, I'm just going to make up one. You guys can kind of create your own passwords. And then birthday, let's see. I'm just going to kind of pick some random things. Again, this is just a fake account that I'll end up probably just deleting anyway, but that way you can kind of see it from, again, that ground up. We'll just say 1990. Mail. I'm actually going to omit the mobile phone so I don't receive any crazy and emails. So that way I don't really get any information from anybody. So we'll just go ahead then and do, man, that's a really hard one to see. Usually they're a little bit better than that. I agree. Next step. Alright, so I've created my email. I'm surprised actually that you didn't even have to enter the phone number or other email. And there you can see it in the top right, rudyberthold2@gmail.com. So now that we have our Gmail, we can go ahead and actually start to look at some of these apps. Now, the biggest and easiest one that was in the article that was published was this YouTube Capture app. And I was kind of stressing that, especially for people that are kind of just starting things. Okay, so if you have an iPad, or iPhone, you can go down to the YouTube Capture. In fact, we'll just go to Google. And then YouTube. If you just type in YouTube Capture, you can see that the first link is this YouTube Capture app. And it's pretty much exactly what, I was just at that other screen a moment ago. And then you can download this. It's completely free. It is an awesome, awesome app. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch gears and discuss some of those stands that are out there for those who are going this route with the YouTube Capture. Now I've already gone on to Amazon and you can find this. I think is probably going to be your best bet for a stand. The reason for that is that actually when you unfold it out, you'll actually be able to look down much like an Elmo camera would. And in addition to that, this one actually also provides a light so that you can actually have like a better lighting as you're doing your recording. So that again would be for an iPad, iPad mini, those kinds of options. This one, the reason why I kind of wanted to show this was because of the price tag. It was a little cheaper, but one issue that kind of concerned me and probably maybe not purchasing this was the fact that if we look over here at some of the pictures, and if we look very, very carefully, we can see that around the ring that maybe the camera might be blocked. I think that this would be actually a really awesome tool if maybe that ring wasn't necessarily blocking the camera, just because it seems like probably the best bet where you have a lot more freedom underneath. This one they use it I guess for laying down, but it could easily be attached to like the side of a desk. Now this one's actually not too bad. I got the highest ratings, but one thing that concerned me was, you know, if you can actually flip it to where then the camera, maybe if I click where the camera actually faces down. I think that this would offer you a lot more freedom and flexibility. And I also like the counterweight, but again, I'm more worried about, can you actually flip this where you're actually having that Elmo effect? And in the first one, this is definitely where you can for sure have that. So kind of shifting gears now away from the iPad, another alternative that I really wanted to show you was the fact that you can actually record with your cell phone. Now, many of us have iPhones, especially like the new i6, and this is, again, I think just an absolutely awesome alternative if you weren't thinking of using a tablet to record. And so it's called the IPEVO. And again, this actually does work for the i6, so if you have that, you're actually already good to go for that as well. I think that this provides an awesome alternative, especially too because of how lightweight it is. You can obviously see that it's very, very small, and you can easily move it around from place to place if you need to. So again, those are just some of the options that are out there. If I had to choose, I would definitely probably go with, since I own an i6, I'd probably go with this one, this IPEVO. I just think it's you know, the easiest to kind of carry around and things like that. And also some various other reasons that we'll actually talk about in a second. But my second option, though, if I was dead set on using a tablet, and tablets actually, they have their benefits too, especially when you start doing the editing, I would definitely do this Pro Computing Just Stand V2. So I'm going to go ahead now and show you what I use for my rig. So this is actually the rig that I ended up using for this past year, and you can see that it's honestly nothing really special. All it is just one of those file organizers without the vanilla folders and things like that, and also just some poster you know, pieces. So pretty much your posters, they come in here and here. So this is just, you know, the outside shell of what your posters normally come in. So again, it's really nothing crazy special. But I found it to be just incredibly effective. And to be honest, the reason why I also did this was it didn't spend me a dime. I only spent 30 minutes of my time actually constructing the thing. So it was really, really cheap, easy, and incredibly efficient. You'd be surprised at just how, even though this machine looks kind of clunky and such, it's actually very, very effective. So pretty much all that I would do is I would take my iPad and put it on top, right like so, and then just click on the YouTube Capture app. And then the one thing I'm not crazy about the YouTube Capture app is you see this rotate issue. You always kind of have to just go like this to get it ready to go. And now you can see that the stand is actually holding the iPad very well. The camera has clear clearance, and then all I would do is insert my piece of paper with my various problems underneath. And the bonus now is actually the reason why I really love the file organizer is the fact that it's really the perfect height for what I want to record with. You know, it's not up too high, the camera's not up too high, and it's not too low to the point where, you know, it's either really blurry or I can just barely see it because it's just up too high. And one other thing too that I'd like to point out is the fact that you'll notice that the poster boards are actually kind of at an angle, and I kind of purposefully did that to allow better clearance for the actual camera on the iPad, but also such that when I write and sit down and write, I don't just write like straight across. Sorry, I can't really see. I can't really write straight across like this. I usually have to kind of have like a lean, and also when I have like these pieces sticking out like at an angle like that, it allows for the iPad to actually have that kind of angle where I can more comfortably write with. So that again is just my rig. It's nothing special, but it was actually just super cheap, super fast to put together, and I think probably one of the most efficient for me personally. So you know, a little bit of ingenuity just kind of went a long way with that one. On the left side, there's actually a lot more clearance as well, so that makes writing much, much easier. And also, the reason why I think that this rig really works well too is the fact that because it's so open, you have a lot more just light coming in and reflecting off the paper, and so as a result of that, you actually end up with a much better quality picture. And the reason why I also really like that too is because especially when you have this iPad that's sitting right above it, where you might have lights also above you. So I think that with the amount of lighting that as it's being produced, it definitely helps in the overall quality of the pictures as you're recording. So right now we're actually going to go ahead and kind of use that YouTube Capture app. All I would do is go ahead and go down to this kind of area where we see the menu. These are all the videos that we've done. We're going to go ahead and go to settings first, though. And this is kind of a key component to do first. And the reason for this is because you see this top option is YouTube. That's where you're going to go ahead and click on your name and then link your Gmail account that you just created to your YouTube account. And as a result, as you're recording all these videos, and then you throw them online, they're being directly merged to your YouTube channel, which is directly merged also with your Gmail account. And so pretty much all you would do then is just add account and then type in that information that you had just done for your Gmail. I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I think that's pretty straightforward. But now let's go ahead and talk about some of the editing options. Oh, by the way, really fast, what I love about this app too is the fact that you have all these different resolutions. So for example, you can also record in 360p, and when you go ahead and upload, you will see very, very fast upload times. Again, just because that resolution is a little bit smaller. Whereas if you go 1080, you know, the quality is pretty much there. It's just the issue is that then as you're uploading, things tend to take a lot longer. So just keep that in mind. I typically, I think, go with the 720p. I think it's a happy medium for both. So now let's just go ahead and go back, just so we can talk about some of the editing options and how that all works. So right now, I'm pretty much just recording. I actually haven't hit the record option yet, but all you would do is just hit the red button. And now my tablet is actually recording. So whatever I write down on the piece of paper, my tablet would end up recording. So for example, this is where I would do like my math problem. Let's just say 3x plus 2 is equal to, we'll just go with 7. And let's just say now I want to go ahead and record that. Well, then I would do this math problem. So 3x is equal to 5. And then I would just go ahead and continue and solve for this, so then just x would come out to be 5/3. So that's just one really quick example. But then maybe, and then when I'm done, I would just hit stop. And there you can see it's gone over here into the top right. Now if I want to go ahead and try and like edit that, I click on that arrow, and here is that video. Now maybe, for example, I didn't quite like the very end of that, and I just want to edit a certain piece of it. So I can actually, you can see kind of it cut that first portion out. And then maybe after that, I was like, I'm going to play with this. And now my tablet is up. I could see maybe where I wanted to change my wording or something. So 3x is equal to 5. And then I can actually go ahead and edit, or add a new clip rather, just by hitting that plus sign. And I can record a new clip. Sorry, the screen's a little weird. But I can go ahead and record a new clip and then pretty much just edit like that. Now once I'm all done, all I would do is go over to this arrow and then click it one more time, saying that I'm pretty much ready to go. And now my tablet is actually recording. Must not have hit the arrow. And now all I have to do really is just give it a title. So maybe I want to give it, let's just give it upload example. And then just hit upload. And there you can actually see it's currently in the process of uploading. And that's pretty much it. It's like as soon as that's uploaded, you know, it's on your YouTube channel. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and switch gears back to the PC. Once again, I'm really sorry about like you know, showing this on my phone. I don't have like a digital camera other than my phone, and I figured we're talking about the YouTube Capture app. I'll just use the YouTube Capture app. Believe it or not, actually really fast too. The i6 has in fact a better camera than the iPad Air. I'm not really sure which one's better, if the iPad Air is, or iPad Air 2 is better than the i6, but I know because this is an iPad Air, and my i6 is the one I'm holding right now in my hand. The i6 I was told has a better camera, so just keep that in mind if you're thinking about which device to actually go with. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch gears over to the computer so that you can actually see that uploaded on the channel and how to link that with maybe like a website. Now at this point we actually already have that video recorded, and the ultimate goal now is to actually share it with the world. So one thing that we do, I've already gone ahead and gone to the YouTube website, and to do that all you do is just go up to here where you have this kind of facial image, and then just kind of log in using that email. The reason why this says D. Berthold is that's actually the one username that I use to record things with on the tablet. So I normally would have put that in that one that we created, the Rudy Berthold 2. But again, because this one defaulted to that on my tablet, that's why I went ahead and signed in with this one. Now that I'm actually at my YouTube channel or YouTube website and signed in, I will go over to my YouTube channel. And there you can actually see the video. Now one thing I really like to do is actually use the video manager, which is at the top. And the reason for that is because it actually allows me to have a lot more different options. As you guys can see, a lot more different videos that I've gone ahead and already recorded. But this is the main one that we're actually hoping to check out for right now. And there you can actually see that video being recorded. Or it's actually already on YouTube, I should say. Now we want to go ahead and actually share that. Now, if you are a subscriber, they should be able to actually already see these videos without necessarily going to a website. But let's say most students kind of want that quick and easy access to these videos. Because if I went back over here, you can see, you know, there's a lot of different videos. Maybe students might have a hard time figuring out which one's which video. So we kind of want to make that a little bit more accessible to them, and as a result what I do is I actually take my video and upload it to my own individual website. So I'm just going to pause this for now and go over to my Weebly website. If you don't have a Weebly website, I highly recommend you check them out because they are incredibly user friendly. In fact, to be honest, I didn't even actually, I've never created a website before this. And I once was in a meeting where, you know, they were talking about it and how easy and user-friendly it was, so I just thought I'd give that a shot. And I have to say it's definitely a very, very nice and user-friendly website builder. And so yeah, here's my website. And let's go back to the YouTube channel. What I'm going to do to make things easier, because I do have a larger monitor, and you know, if you kind of have a larger monitor, this certainly helps. I'm just going to drag this tab by holding, and then if I go over here, you can kind of see that it kind of creates that left side window. And then maybe I just need to do it one more time. There we go. And now this is on the left side, and now I can also drag my website one down and kind of do the same thing, but just do it on the right side. We'll just minimize this. And now you can see I have my YouTube channel on the left, my website builder on my right. And that's really easy when you're talking about actually doing the transfer of things, okay? And like uploading your YouTube channel onto, or I'm sorry, your YouTube videos onto your Weebly website. So let's say for a moment that you're actually in my AP Calc class. So I'm just going to go over to the AP Calc tab. I'm going to scroll down. These are actually some of the summer packet videos. You can see I still have a couple to do, a few to do. But again, these are just some of the videos I created from this year. But let's say that we want to upload this video. We'll get rid of this problem, and we'll call this the upload video. Alright, so that's what I'm going to just name it in Weebly. And in order to actually create that link for this YouTube channel, all I have to do is highlight that text, and then go over to this, what looks to be a chain link. And then I'm just going to create that link. As you can see, we're looking to link to this URL website. And all we have to do now is take that YouTube website with that particular URL, right click, copy, go over on my Weebly, right click, paste, and there that website has been pasted. I honestly don't really mess with any of this stuff. You know, you can check that out, but I don't usually normally do anything with that. And just to make things easier for my students, I always do this option, open link in a new window. And pretty much what that'll do is it will actually create a new tab for them. And the reason for that then is that they can actually choose some other problems if they want. But we'll actually see that in action in a second. Now if I go ahead and click off, see how it's kind of highlighted blue? If I click off of that, now it's changed to green. Before it was black like this, now it's that green color because we've, again, created that link. Now because at this point we've told Weebly, hey, this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to create this link, this website to go directly to this YouTube. But right now it's not actually out there. You know, you're only telling Weebly what you want to do. And as a result of that, you have to say, no, I want to publish this now. I want to make it known to everybody out there in the world. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to publish. And then it's saying website was published. Okay, great. Now, a lot of times too, I have a Twitter account, so I share with my students, and then, you know, my students know, like, oh, hey, Mr. B, he just, you know, updated his website. Maybe he's probably got a video on there that I should check out. Now, odds are my students know these videos ahead of hand, so there's no surprises. But, again, it lets them know immediately, oh, Mr. B, you know, just put up his video. I should probably watch that. So we'll just get out of here. All right, so now that actual video is actually published. So let's say for a moment now I am actually a student and I wanted to watch that uploaded video. I'm just going to go over, basically starting fresh, like if I was at home or on a tablet or something. Go to Google. A lot of students, I guess, favorite me, or they're already subscribers, but let's say, you know, at the beginning of the year, a lot of students don't necessarily know how to do a lot of this stuff. I kind of do like a once walkthrough with them so they can kind of see how it's done and there are no surprises. This is our school. We're going to go to the high school, staff contacts. They just know to go to my website. In fact, we'll make this screen larger. All right. Now, again, let's say they are in my AP Calc class. So they're just going to go to AP Calculus. This is the particular maybe homework problem or summer packet problem that they had to watch. And now if I just click on this, that uploaded video, again, because we did publish it, it's ready to go. You can see direct link right there. Also, notice how it actually opened up a new tab as well. So again, that just, I think, really makes things easier because I can just go back and select maybe a different problem that I might need. So maybe I just need, like, for example, this one. And then boom, there's the next video. So again, I think that this is really, you know, when you have that kind of new tab system, it definitely helps students because you can just kind of, they can go back and forth very, very quickly and easily, and they can kind of pinpoint exactly what they need. So again, that's pretty much how to actually do the, you know, YouTube Capture app along with the Weebly. I didn't go as in depth with the Weebly just because I don't think it's necessarily that hard to do. Just to kind of show you really fast just how easy it is. It's really just, again, a drag and drop system. So like if I just wanted to put a title, I could put a title, let's say right here, and sometimes it takes a little while, but and then I can actually just go ahead and edit a title. So, you know, it's really just a very user-friendly interface. You know, there's not much code or anything like that. And so, again, pretty much like most of my colleagues, if not pretty much everybody that I know, uses Weebly just because of how easy and user-friendly it is. So I know that I've kind of thrown a lot at you with the YouTube Capture, but again, maybe, you know, there are things that you actually don't even necessarily have to do. For example, like if you already have a Gmail account, you don't have to create a Gmail account. You can already use the one that you have. The purpose of this video is pretty much just to actually start from the ground up. Like if you had, you know, nothing to really start from. You know, if you already have a YouTube channel, hey, you're already good to go for that. If you already know kind of how Weebly works, then you're already good to go for that. But again, I just wanted to really cover a lot of the ground base and, you know, get you guys, you know, pretty much going. Because I remember when I was actually starting all this, it got a little frustrating because there's so much technology out there, you're just kind of like, well, where do I start? What do I do? And I think from my experience, this YouTube Capture app is definitely a solid starting point for, at least for me personally. So, you know, I hope that helps. We're going to talk about Smart Notebook in a little bit, and we'll also dabble on the Surface Pro 3 too as well. All right, guys, check you out later. Now, perhaps you don't necessarily own an iPhone or iPad, or in the article you read, well, I'd like to have maybe that more professional touch using my smartboard that you could have in your classroom. And before we actually dive into things like with the software with that, I'd first like to talk about the microphone. This is actually the Sony EC-MC-S3 clip microphone. This is actually what I use to record all my videos, and I have to say that I'm incredibly pleased with this product. I feel that overall, you know, the sound quality is definitely just there. And what I also love about this is that it's incredibly cheap. As you can see, it's close to about $20 when you purchase it. I think I only paid $14 several months ago. So this is definitely a great option to do as you record these videos, especially because maybe in your classroom, like, you have your smartboard, but you don't necessarily have a microphone attached to your desktop computer. So once again, this is definitely my recommendation. At this point, I've actually already gone ahead and inserted my microphone into the microphone jack in the front. And the beautiful thing about Windows, whether it be 7, 8, or 10, is that not only does Windows automatically recognize the device, like your microphone, but then it also updates all the drivers that you need to actually make that device work. So it's incredibly user-friendly to the point where it's pretty much just plug. You might have to wait like a minute for the drivers to update, and then it's playing. And then you can activate it using whatever, you know, maybe right now we're going to be using Smart Notebook. It works for Camtasia. You know, whatever you need it for, though, it will automatically recognize and update those drivers. Now, we're in Smart Notebook. Again, I teach math, so I just kind of pulled up a set of notes. This is graphing rational functions. But in order to actually do the videos, we're going to have to right-click. Right now, I'm actually recording using Smart Notebook, but we're going to go ahead and go to this option. So all I did was, again, right-click on this toolbar, and then down here it says Smart Recorder. What we're going to do is we're going to hold that. We're going to hold the left button, and then you can kind of see this like plus symbol, and I'm dragging it onto the toolbar. Now there's some blue options to kind of help us in terms of where we're going to place it. I highly recommend placing it right next to this one, next to this computer screen, and we'll talk about why in a second. So I'm just going to drop it there, and now we have that video recorder, that smart recorder on our toolbar. I'm just going to go ahead and hit done. And at this point, now I'm going to say, okay, well, let's record a video. Maybe I'm ready to record these notes, so I'm just going to hit that option. Now, the reason why we actually place this smart recorder next to this viewing screen option is because a lot of the times I like to actually record things in full screen. I just feel like having a smart board, that kind of just makes the most sense, where I can then just utilize the most space. So right now I'm in full screen mode. Let's go ahead and go back to this option where we can then actually click on the smart recorder. And so when we do that, we see that we end up with this little window down here. That is the smart recorder program. Now, before we were actually recording things, you could see that it was very, very choppy, and that it seemed not very fluid. And one thing, though, that we can do is go ahead and go into some of those settings. So I'm just going to hit Menu, go over to Options, and the sound quality, what I like to do is actually commit that to a high setting. I think that my computer can actually handle that. I think most computers can. And before, again, we were recording things in 5 frames per second, getting that choppy feel. Now, one thing that I love about Smart 15 is that we can actually increase that. Now, the biggest one that you can do is 30 frames per second, which is a vast increase to what it was before. So you're definitely going to see very smooth videos. In fact, that's actually what PlayStation 4 and Xbox One use for their games, is actually 30 frames per second. So you're getting a very high quality frame rate there. If you try going to like 45, so I'm just going to type in like 4 and then 5, you kind of hear that sound, and it's not letting me go more than 30. So nice try. I've already, believe me, I wanted to boost it as much as possible, but 30 is still really, really good. So we're just going to go, oh, and then just talking about some of the video formats that we have. WMV and AVI, you know, your 2 mainstream videos. I like to go with WMV just because I think that, you know, if I have students that maybe need certain email or certain videos, I can just email them directly and over the email, and it's the quality is still really good to the point where it's not going to kill upload times, and I can also still email it very, very, you know, easily. The target files, you might want to change that to something very, very quick and easy, like your desktop. So again, you would just go to like browse and then figure out where you want to put that. Watermark, I honestly don't even mess with. So And then now that we have 30 frames per second, we're just going to go ahead and hit OK. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and actually record using those 30 frames per second. I'm also going to go ahead and even go to that full screen so you can see that. So again, I teach math, and this is actually one of our honors algebra 2, one of the first set of notes. I'm sorry, no, this is AP Calc, our first set of notes. So we start talking about what's known to be domain and range. When we're talking about things, I'm just going to go ahead and just show you very quickly like how well the frame rate is going. And what I also love about Smart 15 is the fact that it even tells you your actual frame rate in the bottom right. You can even see down here that I'm in the red, but even though I'm in the red, that's fine enough to actually prove the point. Even though I'm in the red, it's definitely going to be a lot higher than that 5 frames per second. So, you know, though it looks like things are bad, believe me, you're definitely going to see a really good frame rate and smooth video. One thing that I'm not crazy about YouTube Capture is that it can take some time to actually upload and create the video. So what's happening is Smart is actually taking the video that we've just made, this 2x minus 5 is not equal to 0, and actually converting it into that WMV file. And then from there we can throw it online. But you know, the longer the video, the longer this may end up taking. So if you're, I think when I tried this in the past, if I had like a 15-minute video, it would take maybe 2 to 3 minutes to convert. It also tells us our file size, which is kind of nice. So you can kind of see like this is how big it's going to be. I'm also going to go ahead and even go to that full screen so you can see that. So again, I teach math, and this is actually one of our honors algebra 2. One of the first set of notes. I'm sorry, no, this is AP Calc, our first set of notes. So we start talking about what's known to be domain and range. When we're talking about things, I'm just going to go ahead and just show you very quickly like how well the frame rate is going. And what I also love about Smart 15 is the fact that it even tells you your actual frame rate in the bottom right. You can even see down here that I'm in the red. But even though I'm in and so there you can just kind of see things going pretty smoothly and fast. You know, Smart Notebook 15 is definitely a really good option, especially for a lot of teachers out there that already have a smart board. It's also pretty user-friendly to the point where, let's say now I have my video recorded. I'm just gonna, we'll just get out of here. Here's my file, and it would pretty much be that exact same setup with YouTube. So let's go ahead then and go on to YouTube at this point. The only difference is instead of like with the tablet, where you have a direct upload, you just have to do it through YouTube, and it's honestly not hard at all. So we'll just go to my channel. And I want to upload a new file. So I just go over here to the top right, and notice all we have to do is select the file to upload. Well, I think that this was the one, maybe. We'll just make it the one. Pretty much all you would do, drag and drop. It's that easy, and then it really just shows up on your YouTube channel. In fact, let's actually run through that so you can actually see what that looks like. I can go ahead and change my title, so maybe this is Smart Notebook 15 upload. And then you could type in a description, you can put tags if you want. That pretty much just helps users find your video easier. You know, maybe videos or users that aren't necessarily in your classroom, if you want to make it more well-known and more published, you certainly have that option. And then all I would do is click on this, publish this video as soon as it's done. And then there we go. You can see that that would be the title, and it should, it's 95% done, but it should show up in my channel. And there you can see it. Should maybe even be in Video Manager. Yeah, it's still processing a little bit. But it'll show up there, and then you just use that link with your website, much like we did with the other one with the iPad. And that's pretty much Smart Notebook 15. I mean, you know, I think it's really, they've come a long way in terms of the Smart Notebook 11, where they capped us out at 5 frames per second. I'm almost certain it was. So, you know, I think for those teachers that now have a smart board, this is definitely a great option to actually start out with, because again, you do end up also with maybe more of like a professional look at, you know, what you're recording, and that actually looks a little nicer. I think too that the picture quality is going to be a little bit easier on the students as they're watching these videos. So I think that this is a really great route. Another option that we had mentioned was this program software called Camtasia. And Camtasia is an absolutely phenomenal editing software. To be honest, in terms of video editing, I think it's probably one of the best that you can actually get out there. And just kind of talking a little bit about that and just showing you some of the options and actually how to with it. If we go ahead and pull up Camtasia, we end up with this screen. Now, over here is really the predominant one that we're going to end up using. Notice it says record the screen. Well, if I go ahead and click on that, you're prompted with this little box that pretty much says, okay, this is what I want to record. Now, the beautiful thing about this too is that you can select full screen, which is what I highly recommend, but you can also select a custom screen. So maybe you just want a certain region of your computer to be recorded. And so that's actually very adjustable, which is kind of nice to have that feature. You can also even, you know, customize and enter whatever dimensions you're looking for, and that's where you would do this right here. But again, most of the time, because again, I want to use the full screen, I would probably just select the full screen. Now, unfortunately, Camtasia doesn't come custom with, you know, all the great settings that we would like. So, kind of like with the Smart Notebook. So let's go ahead and change those. We're going to do that by going into Tools, which is right here. And then we want to go down to Options. Now, by the way, right now I'm recording, as you can tell, with the Smart Notebook, and the reason for that is if I was recording using Camtasia, you wouldn't be able to actually see these options. So I am still using Smart Notebook to do this. If the quality is a little bit less, I apologize. That's you know, I'm trying to show you the video, the how-to at least, for using Camtasia. One option in terms of saving, notice you can either select this TREC or AVI. I just select AVI because, again, it's more mainstream, and so I just think it tends to work better with, you know, other computers and such. So I recommend that AVI. You can also select where you're going to save to. Again, just the desktop. To me is easiest. Now, if I go ahead and go to Inputs, this is where we really want to actually change some settings here. I'm going to go ahead and go to Video Settings. I've already defaulted it to TechSmith Screen Codec 2. I think it was on a different setting, but if you really want to actually record, I'm pretty sure that you have to actually select this option. I'm not sure if one of these other ones also do it, but I do know that if you select this TechSmith Screen Codec 2, that it will record just as the way you want it to. And then you can also do a little bit of configuration to get some higher quality. Select OK. Now, we're also going to go ahead, notice it says screen capture frame rate 30. And that's actually what we said that the Smart Notebook was using. However, you can actually increase this. So I'm not actually certain what the max frame rate is for Camtasia, but I know one person online said that they got it up to 80. To be honest, I'm a little surprised if you can get 80, but I wouldn't put it past anyone. But I'm going to go ahead and just say, let's do 80. Hotkeys, you can obviously change some of those. And I don't really mess too much with this last program option, though. We're going to go ahead then and click on OK. And right now, I don't know if you can really see this, but if you look at the top of my screen, there's kind of like this little green kind of dashed pretty much line. And that's pretty much saying that that's what we're actually recording with. So what I would do then is go into, in fact, actually, yeah, so never mind. We're going to go ahead then and go into Smart Notebook. And I would pull this up with my lessons, and let's say I wanted to record this. And down here, all I would really have to do is hit this record button. So again, pretend we're not actually using Smart Notebook's recording software. We're using Camtasia's. All we would do is just hit record. And then once we're done, you can hit that F10 key. And right now, we're actually recording with both programs. But again, I wanted to be able to show you how to use Camtasia, so I had to use that Smart Notebook. And pretty much right now, all I would do is take notes and talk as I normally would. You know, it's recognizing my microphone that I plugged in earlier because Windows did the update for those drivers for everything. So we're actually good with the microphone. We don't have to really mess with that. You can, if you want, record or kind of change that audio, which is kind of nice. You can kind of change that setting. But by and large, right now, we're just kind of recording using both, actually. But yeah, so the beautiful thing, like, here's the advantage with using Camtasia as opposed to the Smart Notebook. You end up with that higher frame rate. So that's the first bonus, which again, when you have a higher frame rate, you have a much more fluid and seamless video. So it usually tends to be a better, higher quality. And then the major reason why I really love it is the fact that I can use other screens. So for example, if I'm going online, I use Desmos quite often for my classroom. It's a free graphing calculator, and it's also really nice because it's really fast. It's used predominantly for me for fast graphing. However, I can also go on to, for example, this TI-84 and use that as well. And so the bonus with using Camtasia is that you actually have a better, higher quality picture. I know I can't really show you the two side by side right now. Maybe I'll just take a screen capture and throw it in there. But trust me, you do end up also with a better picture using the Camtasia. It's a little bit more clear. So that, again, that's one bonus. And using Camtasia, I can kind of just go very quickly from screen to screen for whatever I need. This is, again, just a graphing emulator that I've used. And it's definitely really handy, especially with the Camtasia. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about the price because, unfortunately, you know, you have to consider that as well. The Camtasia Studio is retailing at $300, so it does add, you know, quite a bit of money to that, you know, that budget that you might have. And but I will say that it is a phenomenal editing software, and that, quite honestly, I think it's probably top of the line. Like, I've looked and used the Adobe Premiere software. We have that actually at our school. And it's not bad, but I have to give it to Camtasia. I mean, I just think it's easier to use. Even actually, we can just talk about a little bit of the editing features here. If I go ahead and just import a media, I can just select whatever file that I want. We'll just say this one. And notice, these are just all the videos that I might have. Well, all I do, it's pretty much just a drag and drop system. And there you can see it on the main screen. And then I can edit these. Maybe I want to add a video after that. So, like, for example, maybe I recorded a video, really liked it up to this point, and now I want to add this second video right after it. Again, just a drag and drop system, and then just link the two, and there you can kind of see it getting merged together. And then you can have a nice little preview to see how things are going. You can also, what I really like is change up your audio settings. So for example, if I just click on this, it has this really excellent audio feature which says enable volume leveling. And what that does is it takes all of your high pitches or low pitches and kind of evens them out. So for example, if you just look at this video down here, you can kind of see points in the video where my voice went really high, and then maybe it kind of dropped and then went kind of high again. What this option does is it pretty much just evens things out a little bit, so you have a little bit of a better audio with your video. So for example, if I just click on this now, there you can kind of see that it got leveled, and so it should be a little bit of a nicer and more crisp audio. You can then also even raise that volume, or you can lower it. And we'll just get rid of that. Or you can lower it. So it just kind of depends on what your goal is. You can also do call outs. So for example, you should have actually seen that earlier in the video. I kind of goofed and said this YouTube capture app. What I really meant was the smart notebook. So you can do that there. You can also do quizzes in here. Also, let's just say I wanted to cut something. Well, all you would have to do is, you import your video onto the actual screen, and then whatever you want to cut out, see how I'm holding this red button, I can then hold on to it, it turns to that blue, and then pretty much any area that I want to get cut out, all I would do is hit right click and then cut, and then it would actually remove that part from the video. And so, it's a really nice editing feature, obviously, because there are things you probably want to take out of your videos or add to. Now, if we wanted to produce and actually throw this onto YouTube, you would just, click this arrow, share to YouTube, and then, type in the various information and finish. It does take some time for your computer to actually render it and then throw it on there. And that just simply means it's taking your video, compiling it to an actual video that it will then publish. But yeah, then you have that option as well. So Camtasia is just really, there's definitely a lot of options that you can do. And that's why I think that as you're creating all of these videos, as you're spending a lot of time doing them, it's definitely an excellent program to utilize. So again, that is just kind of Camtasia in a nutshell to assist you as you're possibly doing some of your videos. And again, I would definitely connect it to with Smart Notebook. You can also connect it to with using like a Microsoft Word, but again, that's up to you, or a PowerPoint. And we're going to start talking about some of the tablet options that are out there. With more and more schools going one-to-one, we felt that, myself and our tech director felt that the Surface Pro 3, after extensive research, was definitely the route to go, just because, in terms of tablets, just because of how mobile this device is and just how powerful a lot of the hardware inside is as well. Right now we're looking at an i7 processor with 8 GB of RAM, which is definitely going to do the job. In fact, actually, you could even get away with recording videos with an i5 with an 8 GB of RAM as well. But the reason why I had this one highlighted is to be able to compare it with something else in a moment. Now, having recorded this firsthand, the benefits to like a tablet as opposed to maybe using the Smart Notebook, I mean, you can actually still load Smart Notebook onto this device. However, you might be in a situation where maybe your school doesn't necessarily have a smart board itself, and actually this might be maybe more up your alley that you're thinking of. And so I wanted to go ahead and just show a short video of actually the quality that you might see using this device. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this YouTube is, having recorded it firsthand on the Surface Pro 3. This is just a basic calculus problem taking the derivative of the sine of 2x. And right now we can go ahead and see that that is in fact a chain rule going on. So the outside function, so according to the from class, so the derivative takes care of the outside function, but then we still have to take the derivative with respect to x of that inside piece, so that 2x. Now, this entire first part, that cosine 2x, we're just going to rewrite that, because right now we're just trying to focus on this derivative. And the derivative of 2x, well, we know that that's just the power rule from earlier notes, so that just comes out to be 2. And then we can do, or what we can do here is just rewrite this in its final form. So it just comes out to be 2, pretty much just pulling that 2 in front, cosine of 2x, so just rewriting everything pretty much. And that would be our derivative. So that is, again, Camtasia in action, just to kind of... So really fast, again, that was using Camtasia along with Smart Notebook on the Surface Pro 3 device, and you can still see some very fluid videos. Now, having experienced that device firsthand, I will say that the screen size did seem a little bit smaller than I'm more used to, just because I'm used to working on like a smart board. And so that's definitely one thing to consider as you move forward possibly with this device, is that as you're writing and doing videos on them, you might have to conserve some of the space that you have on your screen. Now, a bonus though with using like the Surface Pro 3 is the fact that you have everything really all inclusive there. So what I mean by that is, like, you don't have to actually go out and purchase a microphone. It comes built in with the device. But again, it's definitely a solid alternative if you don't necessarily have like a smart board. Now, I also wanted to start talking about the Surface Pro 4, which in our research we discovered that they were coming out with the Surface Pro 4. We were hoping they were going to come out with that in the summer of 2015, and I was actually looking at buying one, but unfortunately they couldn't get it out in time, and so I think that they're still waiting, and possibly until next year even, in fact. So I was kind of bummed about that, but you know, if it's not ready, it's not ready. Now, with the Surface Pro 4, there are rumors that to kind of compensate for that smaller screen that we were just talking about with the Surface Pro 3, which is 12 inches, they could be doing a 14-inch screen. So that might actually really, you know, lean some people a certain way than possibly going with this tablet. But again, with the Surface Pro 4, it's also rumored to have the new, I think it's Skyline processor, and pretty much what that means is it'll run cooler, and as a result, you know, you'd have this device being able to last longer as well. So it sounds like, oh, and then also a 2K resolution, which seems pretty promising. Now, I was just at Best Buy the other day, and this gentleman was helping me with another product, but he said that the HP created this laptop tablet called the Spectre, and from what he was telling me, it actually seemed pretty promising because it does have a larger screen size, and in fact, a lot of the components inside, like the i7 processor and 8 gigs, are there, and in fact, if you look at the prices, they're actually pretty comparable, even possibly cheaper than that Surface Pro. The one downside, though, that I did notice with this is it did seem a little bit heavier, and the reason for that is if you look, and you can see this tablet is actually connected to the keyboard. Okay, so as you carry this around, you have to actually carry the keyboard along with you, but you do get a larger screen size. He also said, too, that it was supposed to be able to last longer, and I believe he even said that the screen resolution was even better. So, you know, just something to consider along with the Surface Pro. I think if I was to sit down and kind of use it more of like as a desktop tablet, I would probably go with the Spectre. But if I'm a teacher and I also want to use my Surface Pro to maybe like move around the classroom and hand my tablet off to students, I would probably go again with the Surface Pro, just because it's certainly a lot lighter from my experience holding both devices. And yeah, I mean, I just think that this is overall a pretty well made device. Not to say that the Spectre is not that bad either. I mean, it's certainly, I think, a solid competitor. So those are the tablet options that I actually had mentioned in the article. You know, I'm actually pretty excited to see what's going to happen with the Surface Pro 4 when that finally comes out, in conjunction with the Windows 10 that they just released. It sounds like things are going to be looking really, really good in the near future in terms of our screen sizes with tablets and a lot of the hardware along with it to be able to support programs like, you know, Camtasia and record these videos in really good definition. Now, perhaps your classroom isn't necessarily outfitted with a smartboard, and your school might not yet be at that stage where it's ready to commit to like a one-to-one initiative. Right now, I just kind of want to touch on what's known to be a Wacom Intuos pen and tablet. One of my colleagues actually told me about this, and he and his wife actually have one. And I have to say that it's certainly a really good alternative if maybe you're kind of in this situation where you're looking at tablets, but it's kind of a lot of money for you to commit to, and you're not really sure then what to do. This actually, as you can see, it's just a tablet, and it comes with an electronic pen, and pretty much, as you can see on like this top left, it connects. There's like a connector that goes straight into your computer. So let me see if there's a good picture where you can kind of see her as she's using the stylus with that tablet. It's kind of writing whatever she wants on the actual computer. And I have to say that, you know, it's for $170, it's definitely a solid alternative, and you might use this in conjunction with like Smart Notebook. Now, they do have, this again is the medium tablet. They do have a larger version, and here is the Wacom kind of like Pro line, where they have a large tablet. And supposedly, I think it's supposed to be like 15 inches across by 12 inches or something like that. wide. So you definitely have some more real estate as you're writing. Now, I kind of wanted to actually go ahead and show you what that's like using the smart notebook software. I actually have this one, the medium tablet. And if I just go ahead and go into Smart Notebook, now I'm already also again using that Camtasia. Let me just select a pen. And now if I wanted to write, you can kind of see where you still end up with that fluid writing. But I will say that it does take some getting used to. It's definitely, you know, as you're writing things, it's not going to be as like fluid as where maybe you're like at a smart board. You can kind of see where my pen is like a little bit, not necessarily straight, or it's a little bit kind of like my 5 here is a little off. So it does take some getting used to, simply because you're writing on the tablet, and then also, you know, you're looking at the screen. So it's a little kind of takes some getting used to. That's the best way I can describe it. But again, that's really a really good alternative if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't necessarily have the money to do that, you know, like commit to like a full tablet. And what I actually really like about this option too is the fact that even though I have a smart board in my classroom, you know, and I record things with that, this is really nice to have if, for example, I'm at home and I just wanted to record maybe 3 videos at night one night and just kind of get those out of the way or something like that. So, you know, or if I'm at home on the weekend and I just want to record all day, or, you know, so this definitely has a nice option where I can just go ahead and do some of that at home and not really have to drive into the school, or if it's like, especially during the winter time, that's going to be, you know, probably the last thing I want to do is actually go in on a weekend where it's really cold out and record, you know, just a ton of videos where I can easily just do this in the comfort of my own home. And yeah, so, you know, maybe have some coffee with my recordings as well. So again, that's just a really good, I think, alternative if you're kind of thinking like, well, my budget's not quite necessarily there. And again, it does take some getting used to, but it's certainly a very valid alternative. And what I absolutely love about this is I think it's just definitely very accessible to a lot of teachers out there. And that's really what the whole goal is here, is to have, you know, technology that's very accessible to people. That's one reason why I was stressing like the iPads, because they actually own 85% of the tablet industry is iPads. So that could have changed over the years, in more recent years, with the Surface Pros and such. But yeah, no, really just kind of making this technology accessible. I think that this is really a good alternative to that. I would say if you are thinking this route, this Wacom pen and tablet, I would go with the medium. I wouldn't necessarily go with the small, just because I think your screen or your area of work is just too small. So I wouldn't necessarily go with that one. I think that the medium is actually sufficiently enough to actually be able to write things with. I don't really think you'd have to go with the large. But again, that's really up to you. I think too with the large, it kind of gives you a little bit more better pensmanship. So I think it picks up things a little bit like more, I don't want to say fluidly, but like if you're having a pen on an angle, I think it picks it up better than if you did with the medium tablet. But again, you know, that's really up to you. And once again, this is actually an incredibly easy install. You literally just pop it into your computer, just connect it. You don't even really have to install the CD or anything like that. Your computer should automatically recognize what this piece of hardware is and just automatically update the drivers for you. It actually tricks Smart Notebook in thinking that you know, you can use a pen in this feature, and then also instead of using like a mouse, so like right now I'm using a mouse and you can tell the writing is awful, but it actually works as pretty much like a mouse would. So it kind of tricks your computer, this pen at least, tricks your computer in saying, oh, it's actually a mouse, when in reality you're using a pen. So again, though, the installation is incredibly easy, and it's pretty much you just plug and play. So again, that's just a great alternative as well. Now, I know I've been talking your ear off with just the wide array of technology out there, and I just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I really hope that it helped you. And you know, as you move forward, you know, even if you're not really committed to necessarily doing a fully flipped classroom, you know, even if you're just looking at maybe recording a few things, to help out your students. You know, my first year, all I did was record the study guide problems that I gave my calc guys and honors algebra 2 guys, and you know, they really loved that. They really felt like it helped them tremendously, where they have their teacher going step by step, and even doing like those verbal cues that they've heard in class. They said that it's gone a long way, and when we piloted the Chapter 5 in my AP Calc class, we piloted the flipped with our Chapter 5 exam, and they said that they really loved having these additional examples online where they can re-reference and revisit and just kind of re-watch these things. So your students will, you know, it'll take some getting used to, but they will love it. They really see you kind of go above and beyond for them, and because of that, they really want to try harder in your class, that much harder at least for you. And so I would really like to just applaud your efforts and even just exploring this option, and really commend you if you are, you know, perhaps moving forward with it. You know, because at the end of the day, all things considered, all the things that we teachers have to do, it's really about giving our kids, our students, the absolute best. And I really, you know, I believe in this just having seen it work firsthand. And I think that there are a lot of teachers out there that really see the benefits to this as well. So once again, thanks guys. If you really enjoyed the video, please leave a like so that way, you know, other teachers out there can get it to be more well known, and so that they can actually see some of this technology as well and how it's used and how to actually incorporate it. Thanks guys. Have a great rest of your day.